We are very, very pleased to have Bezawada from IBM. We are spelling him from having to pack with his family to go out of town on a vacation tomorrow. He says it's kind of crazy with two girls that they've packed and unpacked and repacked 100 times. And so you're giving him a break, believe it or not. And he's going to share with us from his vast knowledge what he sees coming down the pipe for us. And I think that's what we really need to be using our business people to do, is tell us what they see coming, not what's today, because we can't address changing our curriculum and turning it around so that we put someone out today, but we really need to know for the future. Sai? Thank you.
I'm Bezawada. I co-run the state of Texas, state local education. Here, Texas is my focus. I've been very fortunate to volunteer here at Collin for about 5 years. I'm a manufacturing engineer out of Detroit, and I moved to the area 6 years ago. And I'm part of a committee that looks at various skills and courses at Collin. And through some connections, I met and talk about a superstar. I'm inspired by the work she did and the continuous work to look at the skills we need. What I'm going to be able to, what I want to share with you today is my conversations with the presidents of various institutions, the CIOs, and what they're looking at. Maybe that'll give you a point of view on where this is headed, so you could hopefully help your students look at it. I've been with IBM 20 years now, and prior to taking this role, I was a client partner in our technology services business. If I take last 2-3 years worth of conversations and kind of categorize them into buckets, and when I sit down with the CIOs and the marketing officers on what is important to their business going forward, number one is data. I think we all agree by the time we walk out of here, this world would have created more data than when we walked in. Securing that, getting value out of it, using that for a competitive advantage. So that's always a key area of focus when we're in these conversations. The second piece is any place you walk into, there's no shortage of tools. I'm pretty sure you probably recognize that even at a higher ed, because of how easy it is these days to open your credit card, go get whatever you need, whether it's compute, storage, tools. So you walk into an enterprise, just take security for example, you'll have various log collecting tools, a whole bunch of tools. So integration becomes critical there. And then the third is cloud, right? You go in, there is some kind of on-premise virtualization that's going on. There is a choice of clouds today. How do you take this hybrid approach? How do you integrate all of this? So cloud itself is a commodity. Would you all tend to agree? You can pretty much go get whatever variety of cloud you want today. How do you integrate all of that? How do you integrate where, I don't know, you might have a HR system that's a software as a service, plus you have your on-site, some assets where you need to leave it on-site. How do you integrate this? So when I talk to some of these senior executives, those three are the areas. How do we take data? How do we get more value out of it? So we're looking at competitive. To the extent you can go back and look at your students and how they're approaching analytics is a given. One of the things that we look at when we get into these projects, large engagements, especially cloud migrations, when we have students coming in from school, you obviously need a lot of capacity. You can help them reduce the cycle time from when they hit the enterprise on when they can be productive. What I mean by that is we see folks coming out very, very knowledgeable, competent on how to spin up these workloads, but oftentimes working in teams and working and understanding a particular business. If you're in healthcare, what does it mean to drive outcomes working in a team? Those are areas I think, my observation, that could recognize, and I recognize it as areas where we could still do better. What I want to do today is we're working on this. This is, it's coming up. It's not 100% perfect, so I will leave my contact information with Ann and Mark. So if you try to access this and it's not working, do send me a note because we have to add your school's domain. So this is IBM's academic initiative. So whatever we use to serve the marketplace, I think I'm able to scroll that up. So you can use this for free, everything that IBM produces for the market, as long as it's for learning and teaching and research in public domain. So it's not commercial-based research. Someone who wants to use this has to register for the portal, and it recognizes your school's email domain ID and it provides it if it doesn't. But we want to make sure we provide this so that when students come out and join Enterprise, they're ready and equipped on some of the tools that are being used in the marketplace. So I'd highly encourage you to look at it and see if you're able to register and point your students towards this. It's ibm.biz/academic. So let me pause here and see if you have any questions or comments. The best value I can provide is my insights and knowledge from talking to a lot of senior executives in the space. So,
what is in your IBM cloud? What is it? Specific OSs?
IBM Cloud, we have everything. It's highly customizable. You can have any operating system that you would like in there. We have a public cloud option just with all our cognitive capabilities with Watson and all of that in there. We also have a private cloud. It's called IBM Cloud Private. That's an appliance that you can get in, but you have all of the features and functions from virtual machines to containers and all of that. Yes, sir.
Yesterday we had a large meeting, and one of the big discussions was getting students prepared for jobs, mostly soft skills, but getting kind of what do we need to be preparing our students for so that when they leave our programs with all the technical knowledge, what can they do so that they can hit the ground, so they can be ready to walk into IBM or other companies and be ready to be productive?
It's a great question. I would say the number one thing is working in teams. The way we work has evolved to, just from an IBM standpoint, we use Agile in all of our projects and methodologies. We moved away from the 20,000 line project plan. We do that 2-week increments. So giving them an insight on how the projects in the real world are going to work. Helping them work in teams is a good place. And then looking at the industry that they're going in, right? I mean, it's very, very specific. Having that domain knowledge, doing some research on, just for example, them interviewing with a healthcare client is a lot different from a manufacturing client. So just being mindful of that when they go in is understanding the business, taking that extra time to understand what are the objectives of the organization that they're going to go serve. That would help a long way. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I have a hybrid question that addresses both the industry side and the academic side, because I work full-time for Toyota, and I also work part-time here at Collin College. So one of the things that I've been seeing in industry is that I've been trying to get partnerships with our school with industry, like companies like yours, Toyota, things like that. What I'm seeing is a shift within companies to have their own homegrown sort of learning. You mentioned Agile. So one of our very esteemed colleagues named Nigel Thurlow is Chief of Agile for Toyota Connected. And he has been training people both at Toyota and externally with things like Scrum the Toyota Way. So my question is there going to start being a shift away from academic where it goes, we can't keep up fast enough to help students learn certain methodologies and frameworks like Agile, Scrum, moving away from the traditional waterfall and teaching more soft skills? Are we going to be taking away from academic? How are we going to be partnering more? And what are we going to do to keep up with that? What can we do as educators? Like someone like me, someone like Daniel, we have like 1 foot in academia, 1 foot in industry, trying to help bridge that gap. What can we do to help add additional value so that we can serve our students better?
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, and one other question. What can we do? Do we have any case studies that students have done to address maybe some of these questions and concerns? Because we're always trying to drive value so that we can eventually have our students line up at great places like IBM and Toyota, right?
Thank you. That's a great question. Just like you're looking at 2020 and beyond, it might be beneficial to get in experts to see what you'll find though is there's an underlying shift. There's an underlying shift to say, hey, let's not have perfect be the enemy of the good, right? Something along those lines to say, if we can have a minimum viable product within a couple of weeks, and we're doing this along with the customer so that there's no surprise 6 months down the line, that's still a better one. Underneath it, you're using certain templates, there is certain methodology. Those nuances will vary. But just having that overall foundation to say, here's one of the things we've done along those lines is we've tried to we are in the process of transforming IBM to a design enterprise. If you go look at IBM design thinking, we're looking at this from the lens of a end customer who's going to use it, right? I mean, when we go into some of these engagements, you can look at our work at the state of Louisiana, Hep B prevention in Sonoma County. You look at, we go in and obviously us techies have the solution in mind before you walk in to say, hey, I think this is going to be cloud, you're going to spin up a workload, you're going to do all that. I mean, when you do some of this design thinking, it might come out, God, they need better lighting. you just don't need a lot of cloud or technology, you just need a collaboration space or something. So we've pivoted with that design thinking, so the net of what I'm trying to say is, just as we're doing a technology roadmap, maybe it's a good idea to take a pulse on the soft skills to see how each company is looking at their development cycle in whatever technologies you're operating to say what are the best practices and and we got to get our students and mock projects and, working in the teams to understand how they could help deliver outcomes.
Last December, the Congress and the Congress passed and the President signed the Quantum Initiative Act, where $1.25 billion were approved to have 2 to 5 national centers over the next 5 years. IBM itself has the IBM Cube, which allows public access to a 12 qubit, and personally I teach a graduate class in quantum computing, and my students have done some of the programming assignment on that. What I noticed, this will be a disruptive technology, which expected, or some experts expect, in 5 years, where totally what we are doing today will be different. Programming is different, algorithms are different, security, the traditional way we are teaching, will be different, but still I don't see any, it doesn't seem that academia has put some focus on this or some interest in this. Even the list that Anne presented about the future topics, you can usually you can infuse some of these topics in regular curriculum. Still, academia didn't notice that. And I don't know how much support can industry, especially a leading company like IBM in that area, can support academia to help developing some tools that can be used in traditional classes to help with this. This wave is coming, but people might not have noticed it yet.
It's an excellent point. If I can up my scrolling skills here, I want to show you that that was on our mind when we looked at. There we go. When we looked at what are some of the skills. So this is just my point of view. We've been looking at as IBM quantum for a long time, as you know. We're looking at quantum and how to get that to masses, and because ultimately. The more people look at it, there is going to be exponential results. I just think your market drives how much is going to be there. If people are looking for quantum skills, I think we'll be having a completely different conversations and all that. It's still, I've had an opportunity to see a quantum computer. It still has some work, as you can tell, with the errors and all that. But it will fundamentally change how businesses and large-scale computation is going to be approached. So that's the quantum for you, for those of you who are looking at it, to take advantage of it, to learn, and give us feedback, right? I mean, ultimately it's a two-way street. We're putting some of these out there. And then we're looking for, your feedback as you have students register for this, and as you register and look at various things we've put out there that are market ready, to say, hey, if we can have this, it would really, really help us, and then we're more than happy to get the feedback to the right teams. But there's no doubt quantum is coming. Probably coming faster than any one of us will be ready. So this would be a good time to just put it on a plus 5-year roadmap. So.
I'm going to make a comment about quantum not being on our list of 7. It was one that was discussed along with AI and ML, but both of those, or all 3 of those topics, it was felt were not settled down even enough to predict the future. That if you create curriculum for it right now, given that we're not running around with lots of money to create curriculum, are we? The thought was that it would be inappropriate to address it just yet. I do have a question too, though. You said, and we hear from our BUILT team, the business and industry leadership team that works with us nationally, we hear exactly what you said, that the well-skilled or qualified job candidate is better off knowing something about the business. How do you suggest we get education to the students about various businesses while they're still in school? I know I didn't get it until I got out.
You know, just the simplest way is just domain research, picking up a few companies and looking at what their offerings are. That's just the easy way. But I would think, you know, I spent some time in various businesses, retail, automotive, banking, and government. But if we can get folks from those particular areas, you get somebody from pharma to talk about, you know, the challenges and opportunities for them to release a drug. I think that would be beneficial. I think we need to go recruit some subject matter expertise in that case. I just want to make one comment on quantum. My experience is from Watson. Everyone saw Jeopardy here? Yeah. And we competed on Jeopardy and won. At that time, it was a similar use case as quantum, right? We were putting out cognitive algorithms and modules that probably weren't ready for prime time just yet, right? I mean, so emotions, speech recognition, and, you know, a lot of the next generation. But if you look at now, there's plenty of use cases. So quantum might kind of follow the same trajectory. You might have, as more use cases come in, you're gonna find that people are gonna look at that much more closely.